Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
All right, we are back for another episode of Shootin The Que, and today we have two very special guests besides my one permanent guest, which is my lovely wife, Candace. Today we are joined by the legends of barbecue, in my mind, would be Malcom and Rachelle Reed.
I don't know about legends, but it's good to be here, man.
Well, look here, man. If you don't believe in yourself, who else will?
That's exactly right.
That's my motto.
I agree with that.
And you started out a long time ago, y'all believing in yourself and getting online, and I hear Rachelle make comments every now and then about those little videos. You're still doing your little videos.
Yeah, still doing our little videos.
And,
so you came and did our podcast when we started out in the closet. Do you remember?
I remember, because I was like, man, we're in the closet here.
That was about 7 seasons ago.
That's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
We still don't know what we're doing over here.
We still don't know either.
we don't know.
Well, if you ever figure it out, let us know.
Well, you know, that was kind of what inspired our name, Shootin The Que. You know, it's kind of shooting the. You know, I'm good at that, right?
Yeah.
And so that was, and it was just kind of born like that. And I guess you could say y'all had some inspiration in the closet. Y'all keep me y'all hid me in the closet for a minute and showed me what it was all about.
I think we had you back when we weren't outside when we got out of the closet.
You've been on a few times.
I was in the other building.
Yeah.
That y'all had, the other office, and I've been in the new office. So I think I've been on all three, right?
Yeah. You usually got to come on every season, at least one.
I know. So how's things been going, y'all? Y'all been super busy, I'm sure.
We have. We've, we do our weekly podcast, plus we have our videos we're filming, and we do long form stuff, we do the short form stuff, try to hit it all. And with doing that and everyday life and, having employees, you know how it gets, man. There's no time to. Well, I look at your calendar over here, and I say, man, that just reminds me, I'd probably get missing something right now that's on ours. But if you don't have that calendar, I mean, you're lost. So.
Well, we were talking about that a while ago before the show started. All of us has all these calendars now between phones and wall calendars, and we're keeping 3 and 4 of the phone calendars between personal and work and kids and family time, and it's really hard. Nobody really sees the back end of this business, the effort that everybody puts into it, I think.
We're just trying to sell a ball of rub.
Yes. You probably wouldn't know how much stuff goes into it, if you don't do it yourself. Because there's so much, and there's always a fire to put out. There's always something going on.
Oh. I feel like it's hard for people. A lot of people, it's a misconception if you own your own business. They just feel like you're free any time of day, all day, because they'll call, I figured you could talk. You could come do this. You could come do that. I wish it was that easy, because I feel like it's not.
My girlfriends will say, You work for yourself. You can do whatever you want. I'm like, no.
Don't work like that.
Don't work like that.
24/7.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yes. But, well, how did we officially meet? Was it through Competition Barbecue?
It had to be. Yeah.
Maybe Snowden Grove? Was that?
I don't know if it was.
I remember
Ashland.
night out.
Was it?
There was one we were hanging out in Ashland, and that was the first time. I mean, I knew Alan from college, because I went to Northwest, and Alan was at Northwest the same time I was, so I kind of knew him, and I didn't know he was into barbecue, and we were doing South Haven, and I think he was doing a few contests, and I don't even know if you were with Boars Night Out. You might have just got started with
No, I started it.
Yeah. So that was when it was.
Yeah.
It was right around there. We were already doing Killer Hogs, but we were just doing backyard stuff. And we started doing that KCBS out at Ashland. And that was like one of the first KCBS contests there in Variety Club. And so that's when we met y'all, and y'all were just having a blowout. Old Boars Night Out, true fashion.
It was a blowout. It went from us cooking those local contests where I was from in Ashland to Springfest. And I see Shell laughing because
y'all had Hooters Girls one year.
Yeah, several years.
Multiple years.
I think y'all were sponsored by them or something at the time.
Well, I think the local manager was sponsoring us. I don't know if Hooters Corporate was sponsoring us. But he sure sent girls out that was on the payroll.
And crab legs.
Chicken
wings.
I know I cooked crab legs by the case, man. And shrimp, everybody laughed at me, and I'm like, man, all I did was tell them I wanted it, and it showed up.
So you had to cook them?
Yeah, we cooked them too. Yeah, we'd smoke the crab legs on the smoker, and we would boil the shrimp a lot of times and stuff like that. There was those easy peel shrimp, but that was kind of their donation. They donated food, and and girls. I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean,
there was a couple of years there at Springfest where they would shut y'all down. Like, you can't have no more people in here. It's so crowded. Somebody's got to leave before y'all can let anybody else in.
Had a fire marshal standing out there with a number counter.
Clicker.
I remember that.
We were right beside y'all that year. That was the wall. That was the keg wall year.
That was the
where
keg
we
wall year.
took our kegs and put over with y'all's kegs, and I don't know how many it was.
27 was the number of kegs, and I remember it was 110 cases of canned beer.
Wow.
I was in the beer business, and the only reason.
Didn't y'all used to have, I can't think of his name. I can see his face, and I should know his name. The guy that always soaked the strawberries and
Big
did.
Easy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember always coming to y'all's tent for that because he would,
strawberries.
you didn't even really have to come in. You could just walk by, and he'd be like, hey.
Yeah. We soaked them in vodka and filled them up with Kahlua and whipped cream.
Yep. I remember
They
that.
did that for a reason. They liked feeding it to the girls.
Yeah.
We had those chairs. You just kind of lay back in. And
Well, y'all had
we had ice luges. Man, we did all.
Well,
that
we
stuff.
done the ice luge thing too, but y'all also
He
had people
still
out on the
tries to do ice
fence
luges.
We're doing ice
with numbered signs, right? And as people would walk by, and you guys would
Some
rate
of the
them.
guys did that.
Yes.
I was never part of that.
I remember that.
Rate the people walking by.
Yeah, rate the beach. Didn't you have a beach chair or something one time? Like a big beach, like
We did a whole beach theme, I remember
Yeah, it was a
one
beach
year.
theme.
Yeah.
Yep. We had the beach balls and a little
Yeah.
pool, and that was a bad idea. Never take a pool to a barbecue contest.
well,
It just turns
I
into
feel like that's happened a
catastrophe.
few times at different contests. I've seen that.
y'all wasn't at Nashville. Smiley Childers tried to do that in downtown Nashville one time. Did y'all ever cook that
We
contest?
cooked it, yeah.
Well, he got it full of water, and they come over and told him he had to undo it.
Really?
It was
Right
kind
out
of
in
a
front of the
bigger.
trailer.
It wasn't one of those little kiddie pools. Like
No.
it was one of the bigger.
It was
Oh,
one of the
really?
Like with the
3
little-
foot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Would you blow it up at the top and
Yeah.
it
It
holds
was so
on?
hot
Yeah.
at that contest.
That was
Probably
people were
needed
falling
it.
out. We were
It
there
was
that
hot.
year. Yes, that was miserable.
He had a good
There's a couple
idea.
people had to go to leave by ambulance for
Yeah.
heat stroke. That was a hot contest.
See, Smiley was just trying to help everybody.
I know.
Yeah, cool everybody off.
Yeah.
You know, and we're sitting here laughing about all this now, but barbecue's not what it used to be contest wise around here. We all talk about and laugh about it.
I
Good
don't
old
know
days.
if we've gotten too old to enjoy it the same way, or if like is there a younger generation still partying like that out there?
You know,
think so.
you put that in a good perspective. You're right. Maybe we're just a little bit aged to not need to do that anymore.
Because I remember like the party aspect of the barbecue
That's
contest.
what got me into it. I mean, I only wanted to do it for the party.
That's all I got into
Yeah.
it for.
But you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's not.
Oh, there's not?
I don't see it at contests.
I mean,
Everybody's got barbecue trailers and indoors, and keeping everything secret. And
it does seem like it's kind of going back some the other way, though. That
Are you
people are coming more out now, and the bigger rigs and stuff. You see a lot of them for sale.
really,
A lot of them. A lot of motorhomes, a lot of fifth wheels. I think a lot of people, and it may just be a cost factor too, that meat's gotten so high in fuel and travel. And, since COVID, I don't know, but it seems like a lot of people are downsizing back the other way, either going to drum cookers and small trailers or smaller setups. And
if they go back to the pickup and just bring everything you got, I could do that. That's how we started.
well, that's why I just built this new barbecue trailer. I hadn't got it yet, but I wanted something that could fit in the parking place. I wanted something small, compact. We don't cook a lot anymore, and so
You taking it down to like 16-foot size.
16
Really?
foot's what we done with
yeah.
a pit on the back, like Rod Gray's old trailer, and simple
Porch?
as it could be.
I roll out.
Just you got to come out to go around to the pit, but the outlaw.
Oh, it's fixed on the back. I gotcha.
Yeah, at walking height.
Yeah.
So what we do at like Memphis in May or South Haven or somebody like that, it's great for a show pit or a demo for somebody like what we're doing. So
Pulled
I
up in the parking lot.
pull up in the parking lot, fired up. So I try to build something a little universal, but I do see a lot of big trailers for sale now. Like it's kind of changing.
Yeah.
Does your new trailer have like a sleeping quarters in it or a bathroom?
It does have a bathroom because I just can't see renting a porta-john, you know what I mean, in and out of heat and all that. But no sleeping quarters. Just got one of those fold-down couches, and I guess you could, but if you wanted to. But I done got a little too old for the trailer thing, Shell. And I'm sure Malcolm's the same way. You don't. I mean, that's why I converted to hot and fast cooking.
So you could sleep in the
Go to that
hotel.
So I
hotel.
could go to the hotel, and I just get up at 5 a.m., and I can light a pit by 5:30. Cool. I'm just not going to stay in the trailer no more. I'm not built. My back is not built for those things those days.
I have to get too many massages now to fix my back, and chiropractor visits and all that.
I know.
So y'all were talking about that you kind of met at Ashland, but was that your first contest, or did you do contests before that?
Yeah, we've been doing. I guess our first contest was old Spring Fest over on Highway 51. It was probably about 1997.
And what made you get, like, was there a person that kind of piqued your interest with that, or how did you get into that?
So growing up in South Haven, like, they've been having Spring Fest ever since I was a kid, so we would always go. And we were just hanging out with people that had barbecue teams, and there was a carnival and music and all that stuff. So we kind of knew what it was. When we got old enough, a buddy of mine's dad had the Killer Hogs team, and it was just him and some hunting buddies. And they all kind of aged out. They just decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So his dad still wanted to cook. And he's like, let me show you young boys how to cook barbecue. Y'all come in. I think he just wanted us to pay for it. Because we all had to, he's like, all right, everybody's going to have to put up $150, which sounded like a lot of money back then. We all pitched in $150 a piece. It was like 5 of us and him. And he bought the ribs and showed us how to cook ribs. And it was rough. There was no running water. You didn't have electricity back then. And it was Springfest was a tough contest back in the day because all these big teams still used it for a tune-up for Memphis in May. So you would have, like, the airport had a huge team. AutoZone had like 5 teams, and they would take whichever team finished better, and that would be their Memphis in May team. And so you had all this big stuff going on, and a lot of the big, like, that was when 17th Street, Apple City, they were, Mike and Pat, they were
the
running.
Mile High crew.
Yeah. All those guys. Myron was just getting
the
going.
Airport crew.
Yeah.
There were so many different names like that.
Oh, yeah. Who's the old one that God, I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, Two Fat Larrys.
They were cooking back then. I know you know the guy. His name slipped my mind, but it's kind of where Berm and them all learned to kind of cook from. Paul, was it Paul?
Paul Hood.
Yeah, Paul Hood. He had a big team. All these big old school like names that were associated with world champions, were doing those contests back then. And so we just kind of got hooked on it. And we stuck in the backyard division for a long time, just going out and cooking, wherever they had a patio or a backyard contest, we would go cook that and try to throw the biggest party.
So when you said y'all stuck in the backyard, and I remember y'all being on the Food Network as a backyard team.
That was in 06.
That was in 06. Yep. Was that your
No, that was our first year.
So 05 was our first Memphis in May, but we won. So we cooked Memphis in May 05 in the patio division. And once you win it, like the first year we won it, and they said, well, y'all got to go pro. Y'all can't cook anymore in the patio. We were like, daggone, we should have just sandbagged in finals or something, But we had to cook pro, and that's when Food Network asked us to be on there cooking against Wayne and Linda, and who was the other team? And Myron. So it was like that was who they tried to face the show off with, us cooking them. And I don't know who – did one of them win it? I don't even think Myron won it that year.
Red Hot might have won it.
I don't remember if one of the teams that did win did it. I can't remember exactly who won it that year. But we were like 12th, which we thought that was awesome. We almost made top 10 our first go, and then we were hooked on pros. We started traveling around cooking just ribs. All we had was a little backwoods that we'd spent the Memphis in May money the year before to buy. I think it was a
backwoods party, wasn't it?
We started with a party, then we bought a Pro Junior. We took that money and bought a Pro Junior.
That's right.
And we would just haul it around and cook ribs, or we'd take a party and just go cook ribs.
Everywhere.
We went everywhere.
Like when we went to Galax, and I remember
I was going to say, I remember that y'all went to Galax and that trailer you had bought that.
There was no trailer.
2 pop-up tents in my green Dodge with everything loaded and like ficus trees.
Because this is like Memphis in May, back in the day, MIM style rules. Yeah, you had to decorate on site, for the first round too.
Yeah.
And I remember like there was a plant that would sit beside me on our drive.
In the truck.
Yeah.
Fake tree. It's like, why do we haul a fake tree from here to Virginia?
So were you?
Finished, we finaled up there though.
Yeah.
We did really good cooking.
Were you like me that you never had anything to do with barbecue until you met him, or did you have a barbecue background before you met Malcom?
I really didn't have. I mean, my dad enjoyed cooking barbecue. It was, a family thing.
Yeah.
But I met Malcom, and he said, and everybody talked about Springfest. I just moved up to the Memphis area, and I met Malcom, and he said, you can come out and hang out and be part of our team. And I was like, do you have a decorating committee? He's like, nope. And I was like, well, I want to be your decorating committee.
Yeah, but you also told me, you said, we needed a big grill. And she said, my daddy's got a grill y'all can borrow. He'll bring it up here. And I said, I'm marrying that woman. So he brought that grill up there, and we used it at Memphis in May.
It was a huge.
Yeah, it was like
as
one of
big
the
as
big
this table,
yeah.
But, and I remember being there that first Springfest and just being like, this is awesome. It was so much fun. And I was like, this is $1 million untapped market right here, you know. But then
the rest is history. We started traveling around cooking contests.
So you cooked competition then, and it was kind of a hobby per se.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people want to know, what did you do before this became full time for you?
Oh, me?
Both of you.
Go ahead.
I did internet marketing. That's how I started.
Yeah.
And and I'm talking old school internet marketing. Like, there was no videos, there was nothing. It was a page, and it's kind of a shady background. We were selling like penis enlargement pills and breast enhancement pills.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
It wasn't my deal. You know?
I never knew you sold those types of items, Shell. I never knew this. We have so much in common.
Oh, God.
Shady herbal medicines.
It was shady herbal. I mean, there was some weight loss stuff and some other stuff.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Chicory. No, so I was working for an architect firm. I was in commercial construction, intern architect at the time when I met Shell. Actually, I was working casinos when I met you.
You had no plan when I met you. Your biggest plan was, what am I doing this weekend?
Yeah, that's true.
Sounds similar.
But then I got a real job and went to work for an architect firm, and we did that. I did that for several years until 2008 hit, and the recession kind of slowed down construction. It started with like residential, but then it finally caught commercial, and they had layoffs. And so I hadn't been there real long, so I got laid off. And then I went to work with another firm, and that lasted, about a year or two, and I got laid off again. So here we are in 2010, and they gave me a pretty good severance, and we had already started. Good. Yeah.
We had our tax return. You got that severance, and we had a little bit of money in the bank. It was like total like $4,000-$5,000. You know,
it was enough for 6 months of bills. I had it figured out.
Yeah, it was 6 months of bills, and we said we're going to work as hard as we can. At the end of 6 months, if we can't make it, we'll get real jobs.
Yeah, we'll go get real jobs.
And we haven't yet, so knock on wood.
14 years later, we're still going strong. Still holding off on that real job. I'm doing my little barbecue thing.
Little barbecue thing.
So that brings up a question to me. You said you done old school like internet marketing and things like that. What kind of envision you to kind of see into the future to kind of start marketing the barbecue products like you did?
I don't know.
Not having any money.
Yeah.
Needing to find a source of income.
There was nobody else doing it. There was
really
nothing
wasn't
on the internet at all. There was maybe one forum. Maybe it was the Barbecue Brethren forum back then. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah. And nothing else was on the internet about it. There was no instructions. There was no information. And people were real, like, secretive with their barbecue recipes and stuff. So,
well, you always told me that you would hear it, like, she would get tired of me being on the phone. And I'm sure y'all probably get it too. I was always talking barbecue with my buddies, no matter what it was. Is what's the next contest? What recipes we working on? You know,
people would call and say how to cook a pork butt.
Yeah, and so she heard me constantly talking about that, and you said I need to start writing that down. And so you made me do a newsletter, and I was like, I'm not a writer. I hated English in class. I hated doing papers. I hated all that. But she said, just write it like you're sitting there talking. And so that's what I started doing. And she started taking what I would write, and put it in the newsletter format, and that's where it started with the How to Barbecue Right.
Start a little newsletter.
Before we had anything to sell or anything, I was just writing a newsletter.
And then we started doing videos. Somebody told me video is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, I'm glad they told you that. They were right. Yeah. Whoever that was 100% right.
And we started doing videos, and this is around the time when YouTube was first come out.
Mm-hmm.
First video was thighs, right?
I took down a few of the first videos.
Oh, you took
down.
Well, what still exists, I think,
is
what shows as the first. Then would be like competition thick chicken thighs.
Probably. We didn't have. I didn't know how to edit back then, so it was like real time barbecue videos.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you trim a brisket, part 1. This is how you trim a brisket, part 2. You know,
there's like 8 parts.
Yeah,
just trimming a brisket, like 8, and this was hours. You know.
Yeah. We did that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And y'all were already well established then. But
I mean, we didn't have anybody to teach us, and we were not trained in video or filming or talking on camera, anything, even doing podcasts. We just kind of jumped in and started figuring out as we go, and kind of do it our way.
Let's just jump head first in and figure it out.
Jump in.
Well, and y'all have been kind enough to help us. I'm not going to sit here and say that you haven't. Anytime I've ever asked you for how did you do this or how did you get started? You've always taken the time to either make me a video to show me or sit down with me and show me. So, I mean, it's people like that. A lot of people aren't like that. You know, they'll be like,
that's true.
I figured it out. You figured it out. So
I don't know. I got to go a step further. I went to Malcom Rachelle's house, and she even set up my QuickBooks for me.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, you did. You helped me get started on QuickBooks and all that because you said, this is what we're doing. You should go ahead and do all this too. Yeah. You're just like, don't do that. And I'm like, well, I know nothing about all that. And you're like, well, just come down here tomorrow at 10 o'clock, whatever it was.
Because we were working from home.
Yeah, working from home. And so literally I come in and sit down on the couch with you, and you're like, let me see your iPad. I had an iPad. And you got me going, and you helped me get my Shopify store going and all that kind of stuff. I mean, everything. So 100%.
I mean, that's one thing I love about barbecue is that you meet so many people that do want to help you. And I think that's what it's about for us is, I mean, we're all kind of, we're friends. It's like your family with people. You have close contacts. And if we can do something to help somebody else, to save somebody some time or some effort, we know what it was like to go through it and not have anybody. So when we can do that, it just means a lot.
I feel like that changed because like we were kind of talking about when y'all started, everything was so secretive and all of those, nothing again. That's just how it was then. Everybody was secretive. They had cooked to get where they were and they didn't want to just give that to everybody. Yeah. They felt like it needed to be earned, I guess.
Yeah.
I got that big time. When we first started, people would tell me I was crazy. Why are you giving all this away? Why are you telling them what you do in contests? Why would you share all that? Why would you share your recipes?
You got made fun of.
Well, like Heath always says, you still have to cook it. I mean,
that's what I said too.
That's my motto. You still got to cook it.
Yeah.
You can tell somebody, but you still have to do it at the end of the day.
You still got to know, and especially with competition barbecue, you have to know how it goes in the box and put the best stuff in there. You'll know, but
it's a lot about execution.
Now, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of people that did give advice to us too.
Help along the way.
I mean, we got a lot of help.
Yeah.
I mean, especially from the cooking side of things or from the business side of things, from Mike Mills to Chris Birmingham to John David Wheeler, all these guys that were around here, Melissa Cookston. When we were trying to figure stuff out, and a lot of them were still trying to figure stuff out too.
Lambert too.
Like Mark Lambert, that was he was a big help. So we really had some really good friends that kind of, I mean, they might not have told you exactly what to do, but they told you what they did or
give you a good baseline to go off of, and you put your own spin on it.
Exactly.
I mean, because I do think some of the old school classes didn't show you everything. Everybody had their one or two little secrets they didn't want anybody to know, and there were so many people using number 5 rub back then, and
it was the base for just about everybody.
Yeah, or either buying a marinade injection from Gary Roark at U-Bonds. Yeah. That's where the whole injection started from around here. Everybody bought it from Gary.
Yeah.
And
gallon jugs.
Gallon jugs. But a lot of people don't realize all that type of stuff. That or it was mopped down in wickers. That was barbecue to a lot of people. And it's kind of ironic now that we know somebody that owns wickers that bought wickers. It just shows you how the landscape of the business have changed so much over the course of the last 20 years.
It definitely has. I mean, you look at where barbecue, I mean, it's mainstream now. How many rubs and sauces are out there? How many people are doing what we're doing? How many podcasts there are? I mean, it's big time.
A new product pops up every week.
Every week, every week.
Every week. Well, that brings me to, we all talking about competition barbecue. What's the biggest win or accomplishment in competition barbecue for y'all?
Man, I don't know. What changed it all was probably that Memphis MA patio win. And I mean, it was backyard, but that really changed our outlook on what barbecue could be.
Like, it was like, oh, wait, we can do this? Yeah. Like, we were just goofing off up until that point, I would say. Or y'all were.
Being told that you can't, that nobody out from Texas could get a 180 in brisket in Texas, that was a big one when we got that. I was like, wasn't nothing to that.
That first KCBS grand champion you got in Tupelo.
That was a big one too because there were so many people.
That's been a long time ago, but I remember that being like a turn, like a
turning point in KCBS. Even in the stakes, I did the dog track back to back, and that was probably the biggest stake contest still that paid out more than anybody. I won it 2 years in a row.
Like gigantic trophy.
I remember when you practiced a week before the contest. So everybody, I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got to pick up 2 ribeye loins." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm practicing every day."
Yeah, we did, man. But I mean, it was. I don't know. They're all those Galax trophies are cool.
I mean, we've never had them.
They are.
Yeah. I don't have the grand, but I got several of the fiddles.
Well, that was going to be kind of the next question. Do you have a favorite trophy of any contest? Or
man, I don't know that.
Some people do, some people don't.
You do?
I've got one that's a Tammy Wynette It's like a car.
From Fulton?
Yeah, from Fulton, Mississippi. It's like a big round thing.
I got a chicken one.
Yeah. And it's a caricature of Tammy Wynette cooking barbecue on the front of it.
Yeah.
I think
That's like
That
your
was a
favorite
great
one.
I think
contest.
it's hilarious.
I always say
Fulton was fun.
I always say my favorite trophies were Newton, Mississippi. Those mosaic pigs that the disabled kids made. I mean, I just thought they were
I've
cool
got
and
a
unique.
cannon from
We don't have
Brandon,
those.
Mississippi.
Oh,
That's
that
really
sounds
cool.
cool.
It's like they made a metal cannon, and that one's one of the ones that we really like.
Yeah.
Whitelands probably has it.
Okay.
I don't get to keep many of the trophies.
Well, what's your favorite cooker or smoker you've always used for competition barbecue?
Oh man,
Here we go.
that's tough, Heath. 'cause
It's
I've
probably
al-
changed
Probably
over the
changes
years.
through
right? I mean,
time.
it's progressed.
Yeah, it has.
As cooking trends have changed, I can just about name your trends if I had to guess. You
could
went from
probably say
water
one's yours.
cookers
Yes,
to the
exactly.
old hickories to the
Now
stick
stick
burners. Really, is what you
Yeah.
want to.
And they're
Or
all still
drums,
good.
They are,
It
they
just
are.
depends what you're trying to accomplish.
And I tell people have asked me this: if I had to have one, what would it be? It would probably be my CTO, because I know that I could take that and go make. I could do comps with it, but I could also make money with it. I can do fundraisers. I could do pop ups. I can feed a lot of people with a small footprint. Footprint. That's what I'm trying to say. But that would probably be the one. Now, favorite cooking taste wise. Man, those drum flavors is hard to beat, dude.
It
With
is.
that coal, with that juice dripping down on those coals, that's tough. But if it just come to comps, I'm really liking them stick burners for comps because it's fast.
Yep, I'm in.
I like the
same
flavor. I mean, everybody always says, "Oh, you're cooking with real wood, and you got the stick burner. It's going to be, you're going to over smoke it." I don't find that to be the case. I mean, I don't think anything's over smoked on it.
No, not when you run a
So,
clean fire.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. You learn how to run the fire on them. I mean, sometimes you fight to get some smoke flavor if you don't watch it. You burn too dry wood, but
I agree.
I don't have one. I'm probably like you. I don't have one that's just the be all end all. But if I had to pick, it'd probably be that old hickory.
I don't even know if I could narrow it down to one cooker.
I don't
myself.
disagree with Malcolm.
It's so
You disagree?
I don't disagree. I love cooking ribs on old hickory. That's kind of what Heath taught me to cook them on when I went through that short spell where I cooked them. Though I think that's why I say that, just because that's how he taught me, and that's what I'm familiar with.
And they're easy.
Yeah,
They're very user friendly.
but they are. It depends on what flavor you're trying to achieve.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how big of a role that you or Rachelle played even in the competition barbecue, because I taught you how to do the ribs and do that while I was fooling with brisket or butts or whatnot. And I know you, correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't you always trim the competition chicken later on?
yeah.
Heck, it's best
And
trick.
all that.
Way better than I can.
That's like the
Way
worst
better.
job
It is
ever,
the
too.
worst
It's like the
job.
shit
don't
job.
know.
It's the shit
what it
job.
Way
is.
better.
So good at it.
Nobody can do it better.
Yeah, so if anybody needs any competition chicken thighs trim, Rachelle knows how to do it.
I've forgotten. That's been too long.
My thing's always been I'm not the best. I mean, I got big hands. I mean, I'm fat finger stuff, so I'm not the best at being the intricate in a box and stuff. Well, Shell can, her and Waylon would do that. They would make the boxes right. She would find the best pulled pork to put in the box while I'm doing, working on glazing something else or whatever. So it is a team, man. It was really a team effort.
Well, back when you were still working and we were doing 25 contests a year,
Yeah.
I would spend all day Thursday buying stuff, mixing up the injections.
doing
So I
all
got
the
it all.
legwork,
Yeah, I'd get it all prepped and ready to go for Friday morning.
It was in a bus tub for them, ready to
Yeah,
go with it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
All
counter's
packed
ready. All I had
up.
to do is do the checklist to make sure it's there and put it in the trailer. But I guess if you're going to do a lot of contests like that, you're going to learn a system anyway. And
Yeah.
it's so hard
Y'all know,
I mean, to do it by. I've had to do it by myself. I'm sure you've done it by yourself for everything. It's tough. You don't realize that contest usually starts on Tuesday or Wednesday, going and getting stuff, prepping everything, making what you got to make, getting it all loaded. Then you're ready to go cook. A lot of work goes into it for you to fire up a grill.
It does. I used to be bad about going and buying like a case or two of chicken and trimming 5 or 6 contests at a time. And then I would go buy 5, 6, 8 briskets, trim them all at one time. And then the only thing the week of a contest I had to fool with was the pork.
Really?
With the ribs and the butts. Yeah. And other than that, the chicken just come out, pack of 16, depending on what ounce I was cooking that week. And the brisket come out of the freezer, which one I had labeled. It was pretty simple. I had an empty Yeti cooler in the garage. You set it out on a Monday. By Thursday, it was they were
Ready to
thawed,
go.
ready to go with ice. I had a complete system down. It was.
But you got to get. I mean, if you're going to be consistent, you're going to, you want to care about every little step. You got to do that.
Oh, you have to. You have to control every variable, and I don't think a lot of people don't realize how much really goes into it. They think you can just throw something in the truck. I'm not saying you can't get lucky, but you really have to be on your game, especially when winds changing and, I mean, temperature dropping. All that matters. All of it affects every little bit of it.
I can't imagine any newbie going out into KCBS or MBN and doing really well. You know what I mean? Like steaks, you could totally do that, you know. But barbecue, it's got to
put some work in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's classes and stuff.
Why do you think steaks are like that, the SCA versus?
Because it's just a steak. You're just grilling a steak, you know.
Short cook.
Yeah, short cooks. There's no like
people probably cook
putting it in the box. You know, there's no box.
I mean, everybody cooks steak.
They do. The only thing I would really like to say the Steak Association do is to stop everybody trimming their steaks up like hockey pucks.
I hate that.
I think you should not be able to tie it up at all.
Natural.
And I think natural. And I think that would totally change up a little bit of what you see out here. It would just throw another variable speed in there for them, something else. And I'm not saying it's easy because I do think it's hard. The guys that stay at the top,
they
got their timing down. They got their cooking down.
I mean,
but as you know, if you go cook 65 contests, you're bound to get consistent before it's over with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and a lot of people don't look at it that way. They look at, he's just that good. No, if you cook every week and you're not that good, you need to get out and go do something else.
Something ain't working.
And I'm not knocking anything else, nobody, but if you got to decide whether it's going to be a hobby or you're going to try to turn it into something. If it's just a hobby, cool, but, I mean, week after week, if you get your teeth kicked in 50 weeks out of a year cooking SCA and you're not in the top 10, I would say that the SCA is not for you.
I don't know how you can afford it.
I don't.
It ain't cheap anymore. I mean, it wasn't one time when the SCA first come out. It was really affordable. You know, it made more sense to cook 2 or 3 of those for what it cost to cook at KCBS. And that was before MBN changed their meat rules, so you could definitely cook 5 or 6 before you cook at MBN. But now, it's pretty expensive. I mean, just travel and get to a contest, and most of them have multiple contests, you know, and there's other categories besides just the steak. So you're still going to be $300 or $400, you know, just to get in the contest a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of contests, do y'all have a favorite contest that was just always your favorite, or you think about meant the most to you?
The Jack. I mean,
I feel like that's a good answer.
3 or 4 times. But if it was just a regular contest, it's going to be a toss up between 17th Street and Murfreesboro, Illinois, or Galax. Those 2 contests, man, they are. You've been to both of them.
I mean, both 17th Street's my bucket
always
list.
17th Street.
I can't go this year. Had to miss last year.
I'm going this year.
I can't go. We're going to that trade show out of town, so
really?
I don't think we can make it. But
That's
I hate it. I keep saying we're going to team up and do one up there.
Yeah.
You had to miss when we went with Mark and them, and back and forth. We'll get it one of these days, I guess.
You fly in. We'll get you there.
Well, actually, no, I'm not out of town for a trade show. I take that back. It is a wedding we're going to in Canada.
Oh, yeah, we're going to my best friend's getting married in Canada.
She did
in
say
September.
I could go.
But you have to be in Canada by Monday at the latest.
Yeah, I had to be in Canada by Monday.
It's going to be a hard
morning.
turnaround.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'll look at some flights. Don't tempt me. I guess I could ride up with y'all. Y'all drop me off at that municipal airport right there, right outside of it. Think I can get an Uber there in town?
I don't know about that.
You think it's one there? Well, that brings me to, we talked about a lot of competition barbecue, you know, a little bit. And that brings me to, I was kind of shocked when I heard the news online that y'all are not cooking Memphis in May nor Smoke Slam.
Yeah, we're not.
Memphis in May isn't fun for us anymore. I'll just say it. It's expensive and it's hard and it's, y'all know how hard it is.
It's hard on your body. Everybody, I mean, it really is. All the walking, all the sun up to sundown, basically.
Or just getting in the park, getting your stuff put in the park, the act of doing that for the whole week. And
I will say this. If Memphis in May would have been at Tom Lee Park, there's no way we could have not cooked it.
Yeah.
But with them moving it and then having another contest go head-to-head, I just got a bad feeling that it's not going to be good for either one of those contests. I mean, it can't be. How can you have that many teams separated with trying to get judges for both of them, run 2 contests, same city, same weekend? I don't know if it's ever been done on that scale before. Like 2 major contests. And then,
I worry about the judges myself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I worry about. I don't care about nothing else. I worry about the whole judging pool for both because it's not fair to the 60 teams at Smoke Slam and it's not fair to the 130-something or whatever it is at Memphis in May. And so I hope that Memphis in May, since I'm cooking Memphis in May, has their stuff buttoned up. I mean, I think the Smoke Slam would be a good event. I mean,
Was it hard for you to make that decision?
No. And the only reason I say that, I wanted to go to the World Championship. I set that goal to myself a long time ago. I come close several times. I think I still got it in me. And if it don't do it with a rib this year, I'm probably going to hog.
Are you really?
Switch? Yeah, I am. I feel like, truthfully, and I'm getting chill bumps telling you that, I got it in me. And I'm going to do it till the day I die. I mean, or I win at one. And I don't know why, but it's just something I strive to do, and it's still on my bucket list, and I want to do it.
Nothing wrong with that, man. You got the drive to do it.
Don't get me wrong. The Smoke Slam thing is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it'd be cool to put together a super team to go down there and cook all three.
And
just to do it.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of people doing that. There's a lot of people doing that.
Man.
But they're chasing that money.
Yeah, Fire Dancer Eric, he's got a team going, and there's a couple of them.
It's a lot of KCBS guys coming in for super
Yeah.
teams. It's going to be interesting to see how they flare against some of these NBN guys, because I know the KCBS guys knows what the flavor is. They just got to make sure they hit the tenderness mark, I think.
Yeah.
On those categories.
Do you think
And they're
they'll
gonna do
ever
2
go back
rounds of
to
on-site.
cooking
Yeah.
So
one?
that's going
on
to be
site.
changed too.
Memphis and Mayor.
Or either?
I
I think you'll ever
What's that?
go back to cooking one or the other if they both stick
if we
around.
put it under a different name, and we can go like we call it incognito or something,
Yeah. We can do it all hidden.
Yeah.
What about
Where
spring?
nobody knows.
So
I
y'all
don't know
are,
about you, but when you go to Memphis and May, man, I don't get time to do anything.
yeah.
It's the same way with
It's
me.
just and don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but it's
It's not really a break
It's
like
like
it
you-
used to be.
yeah. I used to go to Memphis in May and party. Like, it was fun. It was 3 days and see who was the toughest man could blast. Who could just show up to cook on Saturday after Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But now it's not like that anymore. It's just I don't know.
I feel like
don't
it's
get the
a lot of
same
work.
feeling.
fun,
Yeah.
but like you dread it at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Like you work so hard leading up to it. By the time it actually starts, you're just like over it.
Usually
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sick
tired.
for a solid week after. Like, I've shaken so many hands and hugged so many people
True.
that I don't know what all kind of
Disease.
What you've
COVIDs
been-
and diseases
what
I've
you've
got.
been-
yeah,
yeah,
And trying
exposed
stuff
to.
that people bring me to try, and it's just, I mean, it's a really, really public event for us, and it's just tough
Same way
to
with
spend
us.
that much
Yeah.
money, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well go do, like a fan event or something like that, to where we could really have a good time, and it's all about a party, and then it's about meeting and hanging out with people and doing all that instead of doing, because I can't do anything with the contest.
So what are you saying? We need to put on our own event at Snowden?
So, yeah,
That's
the
saying.
same weekend. So
Same
do it all the
weekend.
same weekend.
Oh God.
See what we can draw more
Then we
people.
can raise enough money.
So you can draw more people.
I bet you we could gather some sponsors.
free
for that.
barbecue
What you
event?
want to bet?
Live fire, free cooking, free barbecue.
Yeah. We call old Cracker up, get him up here too.
Yeah. Get
But
some
you're
bands.
not cooking Springfest this year either.
No, we're not cooking any. I'm turkey hunting.
Are you?
I had one goal this year, or it was one of my lifetime goals to kill a turkey, and I got that done here a couple weeks ago. But I'm hooked. I've done killed another one since then, and I'll try to go get me my third one Friday, and then I'll be done.
So the season's over when?
May 1st.
May the 1st.
That's in Mississippi. If I kill this third one in Mississippi, I'm probably going to Alabama.
So
See, I don't like that.
So have you noticed his passions are not the same as they always have been?
well, I get it how things change. I'm the same way. I jump on things
Yeah.
like that as well. I've been that guy that duck hunted 50-something days out of a year.
Yeah.
60. I've
You know.
done it. I know. And I have a deal. I want to kill an elk.
Yeah.
That's my deal. And
Where you got to go to do that?
I want to go out to Colorado or
I was gonna say,
Montana,
like
somewhere like
Colorado
that.
or
Maybe
Utah or somewhere like
Utah
that,
or
probably.
New Mexico, something like that. So it's
You might get one up in Canada when you visit.
yeah. Actually, it's kind of strange about the
Oh,
Canada thing. Duck season opens up while we're there, up there.
Wow, that would
And
be
you know my buddy France, right? So he has a lodge up there and a place. And he's invited me, but it's 300 miles in between. So I'd have to either get on a puddle jumper plane or drive. But, yeah, I've got a free hunt waiting if I want to go duck hunting.
That'd be hard to pass that up.
Well, we have some other friends that are guides up there, too, and they do a lot of dry field hunting. You say you can go out there in flip-flops or Crocs and
Lay out
camo.
line.
And they say you toss around a football until you start hearing the geese coming in. You get behind the blind, and you can kill a mess out of ducks and geese all in the dry field. That's my kind of hunting. I'm not into the swamp waiting.
Yeah, in the mud.
I've
and all
seen
that.
you panic in the mud before.
I don't
Cagey
like
duck hunting. He's like, man, I don't know about all that. That's when you first got that side by side.
Yeah. We drove through a bunch of them.
We drove through a bunch that weekend. A bunch. That was all good. So besides the barbecue and all that, y'all also travel and do some celebrity judging. You've been invited to do some of the Squirrel Cookoff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you didn't do any of that, did you, Shell?
No.
You
I wouldn't be opposed
Yeah.
to it, but
You've done a wild game cook-off with me before.
Yeah.
We actually have another one coming up that we're going to do. It's in Corinth here in a couple weeks.
I think it might be next week.
Is it next week?
Maybe.
It's coming up soon.
You also done some crawfish contest judging, right?
Yep. Michelle, you didn't do that either, did you? How'd you get out of all this?
I would judge some crawfish. They did not ask me.
Yeah, we got asked this year, but we're going up Morgan Wallen concert. It knocked us out of being able to go down there to Metairie. That's a fun time. If you've never been to a crawfish contest, it is. Oh, it's like.
So how is that? Is there that big of a difference in the?
So they basically were, when I judged, every team brought one box of crawfish. You can't have any sides. It's just got to be crawfish. You can arrange them in there however you want, but it can only be crawfish. And you turn in a blind box and you judge them. You know, they have got 3 or 4 criteria, just like barbecue does. You judge crawfish and you kind of rank them like, you know how there used to be a state contest, or maybe the IBCA still does it. They take the top 10. Out of all the entries, they take the top 10 and they submit another box. And so you judge, you know, you rank them 1 through 10 off that. So that final table, there's usually, like when we judge, there's probably 6 tables of judges, 6 to a table. And then when they narrow that top 10 down, they take just a few of you and you do the top 10. And so there might be one table where all 10 boxes are on it and you rank them 1 through 10 like that. So
I bet they can get spicy before the day is out.
you know, surprisingly, there wasn't any that just blew me away like heat level. I thought there would be big differences, but it was a lot like barbecue. There was a lot of just middle of the road, you know, nothing offensive or anything, but nothing overwhelming. There was a few bad ones, but there were some that was just out, you know, these were the top 3 because they were that good. So it was kind of funny how it was like that, because I was expecting it to be all over the place, and I was expecting the heat levels, because I don't do a lot of heat. I was expecting it to blow me away, but it really didn't.
Oh, wow. So how was the squirrel when you done it?
Now, that was fun. That was like, so Joe Wilson invited me over to do that, and it was in Springdale, Arkansas, which is all the way across Arkansas. I don't know how long they've had this World Squirrel Cookoff. And so I'm going over there. Now, look, I told Joe on the way over there, he's like, man, you think you're ready to judge a squirrel? And I said, Joe, I'm going to be honest with you, I have never ate squirrel. That was one thing that we never ate. You know, I love squirrel. It's awesome.
Yeah, squirrel's good.
But I was thinking, you know, okay, we're going to have a lot of squirrel and dumplings or squirrel and gravy, fried squirrel, something like that. There was none of that. It was all like the people went out of this world. It was chef-type stuff. I mean, I think the first dish I had was like a hollowed-out pineapple, and they had made a squirrel stir-fry fried rice, squirrel and fried rice, and it was just like it had all this fresh vegetables and the pineapple in it with rice and squirrel meat. I was like, hold on now, this is what we're going to get. And then every dish from there just topped that. I mean, the one that won was crazy. It was like they had made these squirrel little hand pies it's almost like a little fried pie, but it had squirrel mincemeat in it, and it was glazed with like a Tupelo honey, and then they did like a Minnesota wild rice, and they I forget what else they had. They had something else that went with it, but it was like some morels or something like that. It was like crazy stuff with squirrel. And that's the one that won. Like, that was the consensus on our table, that dish right there was above and beyond. I still remember that one to this day.
How do you get that much meat off a squirrel?
I don't know how many squirrels they cook.
You know,
And
that's
they
my
have to turn
question.
in
So get this. Like, they don't just turn in one box. Like, you got to turn in 6 boxes, like, for each dish. So, like, you make one dish, you make it for 6 judges. Every judge gets their own box. And you got to write a little note card describing your recipe, what you did, and it's just everything in one box. And it's only one round. You just judge it on its merit, just that one box. You know, give it the score you think it gets. And
Wow.
And I think I judged 20.
Yeah,
we had 23 on my table. So you're doing 23 full boxes, and then there was another table that had like 22.
So they provide the squirrel for the contestants?
No, you're supposed to bring your own squirrel.
Gotcha.
But I think he did end up having so many. Like, he had a couple
Extra.
teams that couldn't get any squirrel. He couldn't shoot any, so he gave them 4 or 5. But I would think if you're going to show up to cook that one, you need at least a dozen, at least.
Yeah.
'Cause there's not that much meat on a squirrel.
No, and I mean, I cooked a rabbit in a wild game deal at Tunica one time. You remember the NBN done that last big deal down there where they give us rabbits or something? They got them from Cary. You know, Raymond's up there. They sell
it was
rabbits.
like an exotic category or something.
Yeah, it was something. I remember they give us a rabbit because I made like
something.
some rabbit quesadillas or something like that. That wasn't that bad. But you were talking about the wild game cook-off, and I know you said y'all just done one of those. What's the wildest dish you've seen there?
Oh, man.
I mean, wild is in
Like
ingredient or wild?
No, like what's the craziest dish I guess you've seen there?
Probably barbecued raccoon.
That's good.
It was okay.
Didn't have the gaminess out of it.
It was still a little musty.
That's what that old Allegro wild game marinade.
Really, it's
for.
good. I've yet to cook a coon myself now.
So I've had barbecue coon several times. I didn't cook it, but when I was they used to have a wild game dinner at the church where I grew up at, and so some of the older gentlemen back in the day, I used to eat barbecue coon all the time. I
had beaver, and it was up there with the coon. It wasn't.
It's kind of really tough, depending on how it's cooked or it's braised a long time.
What was the only thing that I would not try, and this wasn't at a contest, it was at Memphis in May a couple years ago. Somebody brought up some mountain lion and wanted us to try it, and I just refused. I said, I can't eat mountain lion. Did you try it?
Yeah.
How was it?
I mean, it was tough chicken.
Tastes like Tomcat.
Yeah.
That's why I can't eat it, man. We got Smokey at the house. He's too much like one of them cats.
So you're talking about judging the squirrel and that kind of stuff, and you're not cooking Memphis in May. Would you ever consider like going to judge those events?
Yeah, I'd probably do some judging at them.
If you know.
I mean,
they need to get you as a finals judge.
Yeah.
I could do that.
somebody with some experience.
Experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy judging. I do. I mean, that was like I learned that from competition barbecue. Like I figured the first thing, if we're going to get serious about cooking, I better go take the judging classes. And when we wasn't cooking, I would go judge contests. Yeah. And that's kind of how you get a feel for what other teams are doing.
I agree.
And really, it's about judging these judges that are in there. You can kind of see what are they looking for. You know, what are they talking about when they get through judging? What do they think's good? Because it's not about
a lot of them don't
it's
know.
not about what we think's good.
A lot of them don't know.
Yeah, and you're educating them at the same time too. So that was the advantage of going and doing that judging.
I had some really awful judging experiences and some really good.
Oh,
ones.
I have too. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some stuff go by. I was like, no wonder.
Oh, I put stuff in my mouth and swallowed it that had to later come up. It was bad.
Really? I did that one time at Kennett.
Same.
Kennett,
Missouri.
Same. Worse, man.
It was after a whole hog.
Bad.
And I don't know if it was a hog. I don't know if it was a combination of it being so hot or I had to do all three categories. But we had done hog, and it was like, I don't remember what team it was, but I think they were a Louisiana team, and they were cooking their hogs up on the iron crosses with the fire. And I had to judge them doing that. And I tried that hog, and I remember I ate some of it, and I said, it wasn't the worst. But it was just, something was off. And I was like, I don't know if that got me or what. But, man, I was sick as a dog.
I got sick after judging that as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
That contest, same contest.
Did y'all ever cook in it?
No.
No, we judged it. We judged it.
We judged Pat Burke and John David and Mike Mills.
We judged some really great teams there. And
one of the best ones I ever judged was Utah, Alabama, when they used to have that big one at that dog track down there. And that was a big money contest. And I don't know, were you cooking with Mark back then?
Did he win that one?
He won it 2 years in a row, I think.
He swept it.
Was biggest pot I ever heard of. Like it was 30 grand, I think. It was huge.
It was just for a regular contest. It was up.
That's how he bought that barbecue, that backwoods trailer he had. That was
15 years ago. That's a lot of money. That was
the hottest backwoods trailer, or probably the most expensive backwoods trailer built at the time.
Yeah.
Did you get to do a lot of on-site judging before NBN kind of did away with that?
I did, yeah. That's what I mean. I don't even know if I'm certified to judge regular NBN now because I had. When I back did it, I actually went through the MIM judging back before they changed to NBN. That was the first time I did it. I want to say, it was probably about 06, 07. When did NBN start? It was about that time.
2006.
It was about that time, but when I went through the class, it was still MIM before they changed, and it was
2006 or 7.
Yeah.
Do you have one person that you judged that stuck out to you that you still just feel like
that's good?
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
See, I had two that I still remember for different reasons. Pat Burke.
He's
the way the pieces, his presentation and the pieces of meat that he could pull out and explain to you, I feel like no one else is on that level that he's on because he's been doing this for many, many years and he's very educated and it was just amazing to hear him talk about that and show it to you. And then flavor wise, honestly, John David.
I was going to say John David's a
and he's a great presentation as well.
When he was doing the times I've judged him several times, but it was back when they were in their heyday, and they would have people passing them stuff that you never saw the person, and all of a sudden he's making stuff appear like a magician. And it's the whole time it's about, he's just as much about what he's doing and telling you as he is really the meat. Because it's like, it's a show. It's a spectacle.
So back in the day, it was a show.
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, it really was. But
they call it a dog and pony show, remember?
Yeah. Well, nobody really got to see all of that.
Some people called that.
And honestly, like all the women used to dress up the same and have
True.
aprons.
Have
Man, you were
uniforms.
serving judges on fine china and maybe standing in ankle-deep mud.
Yep.
It's true.
But you were serving the judges white tablecloths and on fine china and, eating it. They were eating with their hands. It was just something different to do. I mean, we had a lot of fun doing it.
I remember having a steamer out. Like, I'm standing in mud, steaming a tablecloth thinking, like, what am I doing?
This is so dumb.
This is
so
dumb.
Tornado flying by over here at Springfest. Yeah.
Forget which contest it was, but I judged Pat one time, and it was when he would take you inside his trailer.
That's what I did as well.
Yeah, you went inside and you sat down. It was a Tower Rock.
Yes.
And you sat at the table with him, and I was like, man, how cool is this? Because it's like, I know the legend, and I'm getting to sit here, and that was the one bad thing about MBN. I thought when you got like that first preliminary round, it's like it was so hard not to go ahead and get a preconception when they gave you your scoring cards and you saw who you were going to, because you get it in your head. Oh, I know he's fixing to be good. I feel sorry for this team. They're going to have to bring it today because you already have that in your mind.
It's true.
You have to, you really have to go in with it that I'm going to be open and fair, and it's going to be the best one today, because there's so many times you could just say, well, I got, Natural Born Grillers, they're going to be my 10 today.
Damn
Heath. It happens all the time. That used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's tougher now. Just having a preliminary blind is about as fair as it can be for that first round.
I had an instant of that where I thought one person, I won't say names, but I thought, oh, this person's going to have it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I've been proven wrong, too.
I was very disappointed.
Well, you can say his name.
No. I don't want to.
It was Myron.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Sorry, Myron.
She judged Myron, Mike Davis with a lot of bull, and who was the third team?
They were not a well-known team. I don't remember their name.
Yeah, but it was at Nashville.
It was in Nashville.
Lotta Bull was doing
Yes,
MBN.
he was doing MBN.
Yes.
And he got the top score that
He
day.
did. He beat
Mike Davis is a
Myron.
good cook.
He's a great cook. Yeah.
I mean, so it's not surprising.
I was at the time disappointed in Myron's on-site presentation. I thought it would have been a lot more educational than it was. Maybe he was just having an off day. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have good days and bad days.
Was it preliminary or finals?
It was preliminary.
So it was 1-on-1.
Yeah.
I was just not impressed that day for whatever reason. Sorry, Myron.
Well, like I said, Mike Davis is a good cook. Good cook.
Yeah. I remember when we first started cooking KCBS, we'd pull up and see that huge Lotta Bull RV, and you just knew he was going to take it. Like, damn.
I don't know how many times he kicked our teeth in KCBS.
He'd come to Ashland every year.
Yeah.
I remember him coming to Ashland every year.
I remember seeing all these people at Ashland that I feel like you would only see once a year. And now it's like I wonder what happened to those people because you just don't see them anymore.
Well, Theron Malone's still around here.
That's exactly who I was thinking of right now was Theron.
He still comes. You'll see him Memphis in May. Really? He runs around. Yeah. He works at Nissan over here still.
Oh, really?
And he's got a barbecue page. You just don't even know it. He's on Instagram right now and everything.
Wow. River City Rub, is that what it is?
No, it's called Memphis something or another. I'll find it and screenshot it next time I run across it and send it to you.
He's a heck of a cook, too.
So Theron worked
cooks some really good dishes. I mean,
they started off together.
We cooked Lakeland Fun Fest. Actually, that was one of the first MBNs that we were pros. We went and cooked with Theron. Theron went with us, and we went to Kennett. Me and Waylon was in a wheelchair because he'd had his surgery on his legs at the time.
Y'all weren't pro then. Y'all had to be back.
No, we weren't pro, but we were just porking around. That was the name. He was like, "There, come up with us a name." And so he was like, "We'll be just porking around." And we did ribs and shoulder, and we got stomped. I mean, it was bad.
The last time I asked him, I seen him, he cooked somewhere at some KCBS contest. He decided to drag his trailer out, but that trailer he's got, that backwood still looks like it just rolled off the showroom floor.
Yeah.
Like literally,
it's like a gator or something, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like they don't even make that.
They don't
pit
make it no
anymore.
more. It's like two patios.
Yeah, it's basically
two patios put together.
Yeah. It's a cool little pit.
Really wild. Wow. So I know we've been all over the world here, and so I'm gonna go back. I want to know about the beginning of How to BBQ Right. So y'all made the decision to stay at home and all that and do that, but what really that was Killer Hogs. So how was the How to BBQ Right really come about?
Yeah, it was the newsletter. So in my internet marketing classes, they would say, name something the way people would search for it. So how to barbecue. And I threw the right on just for fun. And that's what we started calling the newsletter. I wish we would have changed it to anything other than that, but it is what it is.
You say that now because, I mean, I'm not a tech person by no means, but the SEO behind How to Barbecue, it's hard for Malcom and Rachelle Reed to pop up when you put something in the computer.
So that was the whole thought process behind it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You killed it. If there was ever $1 million idea, I think that had to be.
I don't know what year that was. That had to be like 09.
Oh, it was way before then.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
I think going back, were y'all not like maybe 2 or 3 weeks behind or ahead of Barbecue Pit Boys? What was it?
No, they were way before us. That was like,
but it wasn't long though, was it?
Yeah, that was the first one on YouTube that I ever saw. Like when I first started when we started loading something to YouTube, it was those guys, and they had already had a pretty good foothold. Like they probably had 100,000 followers when we first started. And we were always like chasing them. And I remember they were like the first barbecue channel that I ever saw get 1 million. Because I told Shell, there's no way a barbecue channel could get 1 million subscribers. I mean, I just don't think there's that many. And I always had that mindset. There's not that many.
Do you still feel that same way now?
No, not
He's
now.
got the plaque to show otherwise.
I have to tell him, like, don't ever say never.
Yeah, it's just.
You've got to believe it.
You got to manifest it.
Got to manifest it. Yeah. And I'm
see, we're on the same level.
I'm a believer in that now. Shell taught me how to manifest. Whatever that means. Manifest the hell out of it.
You know what? That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. You're going to get me stumbled up here, man. Oh.
So you started with the newsletter, the videos. At what point did you decide to go with developing a product?
I guess it was just the natural progression. Like, we need a rub.
Well, no, so we were making barbecue rub for a contest because we were, we started with the base of number 5 and started mixing stuff up, and then you're always buying stuff. Well, we go to a contest, we started doing pretty good with it. People would say, hey, man, you got any more of that rub? Bring me a bottle or bring me a pound. Because I was just making it. Like, I had a recipe that would make 3 pounds.
Yeah.
And so I bought some clear bottles off Uline, and I think Shell had a little heat gun. And that's what they came with the seal. So I was like, we're doing this bootleg, man. I was making up stuff in every bowl we got in the kitchen. And
one of my buddies to make some labels.
Yeah.
He had
printed
like
labels locally.
And he was like, I don't know if I should be doing this for you. This seems wrong.
And so we just started doing that, and I would just sell them word of mouth. I mean, I think we put it on PayPal, where that was the first place we ever took an order, was just on PayPal. Yeah. And it just kind of took off from there, but it got to where
it was illegal.
Lambert was already getting his bottled out at a place called Old World. And he told me, he's like, man, I know these people that bottle out there, if you want to talk to them or whatever. And I was like, I just don't know if we're doing enough volume, because I was mixing it up fresh by the batch, but I was constantly having to buy stuff and all this. And I said, well, let me take some of the money that I got in that severance and order my first, pallet of rub. And so.
What did you say, though? You were like, we're never going to sell this pallet of rub.
When it showed up, it was like 43 cases of bottles and 10 cases of 5-pounders. Because I had to do 5-pounders. They wouldn't do 3-pounders. And I was like, how are we going to sell this, Shell? There's no way. It was in our garage. They just dropped it off at the house. And I was like, we got this pallet of stuff, and now we got to sell it.
I think we had to go pick it up. Like, they loaded it into the back of the truck, and we had to unload it from the back of the truck.
That's how we used to do it.
We've all had those days.
That's how we used to do it. That was part of it. You had to go to the truck line and pick them up.
Well, you grew to a storage unit, correct me? You had a storage unit, and you were working boxing orders out of the garage, because I would come over.
Yeah, that's all we did.
And you'd be like, man, come over about 2:30. We'll be done working by then. And I would get there, And the pallet would be in the driveway with 30, 40 orders on it, and the UPS or FedEx guy, whoever y'all was using that day.
We used to have to take them.
We'd have to take them to UPS or USPS and take them to FedEx, but UPS would come pick up daily. We got to know our UPS guy.
Well, he turned out to be my UPS guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
later on, he did. Yeah, we've shared the same UPS guys because they either seems like we either get them first or y'all get them first. They're like, oh yeah, we know Malcom. Oh yeah, we know. Yeah, we just delivered Malcom. We delivering you now, and it's back and forth.
Yeah. Well, we spent a lot of time in that garage packing orders.
We did.
Cold, hot.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
Yeah.
You would get up in the morning and you would check emails, and then you'd start running orders. And it'd usually be a stack of orders. And then we'd have to go outside in the garage and get them all packaged up, and then have to film something at
usually
some point.
Tuesdays, Mondays we'd run from the weekend. Tuesdays we'd film. Wednesdays we'd run orders again, and I would start editing. I'd usually start editing that Tuesday night.
Thursday, the video and podcast would go out, and Friday we
didn't
do all
have
the
a
orders.
podcast back then.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Newsletter. The newsletter videos would go out. And then Friday we'd try to do all the orders before the weekend because they built up starting, Friday at 2 o'clock to Monday morning. We didn't ship anything, so Monday was always the big day. But it was that way for several years.
Yeah.
How many years? So Shell told me 2 years. She said, you give me 2 years, we're going to work as hard as we can work for 2 years, and we can live like anybody we want. And this has been the longest 2 years of my life. every January I tell her, all right, Shell, 2 more years. 2 more years.
All right, Shell, 2 more years.
2 more years.
You know what? It's funny you're sitting there saying that right now. Ask Candace what I told her. Give me 3 years.
Give me 3 years.
3 to 5.
You got to have that dream, man.
Give me 3 years.
That's that drive.
Give me 3 years.
If I said we got to do this for 20 years, if I told her you got to do this for the next till we die, till we die, we got to do this. She was like, I'm out. I'm done. You can have it.
You got to manifest it.
We're manifesting it.
Well, it's like, I can do 3 years.
Yeah, I can do 3 years. My eyes closed. So we've already done 12, 15. How many ever it's been? What's 3 more?
2 times 6.
Yeah.
So hitting over 1 million followers now on YouTube, and you've also hit TikTok. You've hit it pretty quick. You buckled down and hit that in a year's time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You took a hold of that short form pretty quick, and I was like, man, you can have all of that. And I laid back and kept piddling over here, and you kept rolling. But what does all that honestly mean to you as you take it all in and you hit that 1 million followers like that on TikTok and seeing your YouTube growing up past 1.5 million now?
I don't know, man. It's numbers. I don't get caught up in it too much. But the biggest thing I see about it is people really recognize you. Like when you're out and we're doing stuff different. I mean, I don't care. We could be anywhere. Somebody's into barbecue, and that's what's amazing to me. That's why it's worth doing it, because I tell people, man, first off, thank y'all for watching it. Because, I mean, who's going to watch this fat guy from Mississippi, and it honors me that people actually pay attention and want to watch it. But that they're actually taking these recipes and they're making something good, and they're wanting to share it with their friends, and they're wanting to share it with their family. And people aren't just like, shutting down and holding it close. It's starting this whole kind of barbecue revolution where people really talk about, how to cook better, how to make better food, and just enjoying the same thing we're doing, cooking outside over fire, man. That's it's so humbling to see that worldwide, not just in the U.S. I mean, I know you guys see it everywhere. We get orders from all over the world.
Oh, all over the world, and it's. I mean, I don't laugh about it, but if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, even really 5 years ago, to be in the position we're in now, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that, like you talking about buying that first pallet of rub. I can remember when I bought my first pallet. And then when I bought the first truckload, I was real scared.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's just like, I don't get it. And every week another truckload goes out, or every other week.
How are we going to float that money, man? What happens if that truck crashes and I'm responsible for it? It freaks me out.
I still freak out every day going home. That's all I can tell you.
If you could think of it, man, if I thought about it as hard as I probably want to, I'd never come out of the house. I'd just be, it just worried me to death. But I've got to the point, hanging out with Shell.
If you honestly think about how much inventory you go through in a month's time, for me, when you look at how much is in the pipeline and moving and all that, and you're like, I'm responsible for all this?
Yeah.
Me? Uh-oh.
That's what
we have a joke that we keep expecting the adults to show up and be like, we'll take it from here,
Yeah.
Y'all are through playing business.
Yeah, these little videos ain't going to work no more.
We're going to take over now. But ain't happening. Nobody showed up yet and told us they're taking it.
Well, I know you was one of the early pioneer days of doing the marketing and things like that. How have y'all seen the social media landscape change over the years?
Since COVID, it's completely different. There's so much. It's diversified so much, and everybody's in the game. You know, like everybody's doing it. So
it took a while for everybody to catch up.
Yeah,
because I mean, there was a point. People just, you know, why would you do it? People wanted to do traditional print media. They thought you had to do TV. They thought you had to do ads. You know, they thought you had to do magazines. All this stuff. Well, that stuff's gone. And if you're not out there making videos and getting it to people's mobile devices, that's the biggest change. Mobile devices. Everybody's got a smartphone, and you're in constant contact. And there's no telling how many hours a day people spend looking at a screen like that. It's crazy. And you've got to be marketing or trying to get your message, whatever it might be. You know, it doesn't, not necessarily selling them something, but you got to be relevant.
Keeping your content in front of them to see what you're doing.
And short form's taken over from long form. Yeah. Like long form's.
Attention spans are gone. Yeah. People want to constantly scroll. So you've got, 3 seconds to catch somebody's attention or they're gone.
I'm guilty of it.
I constantly scroll too. I mean, it's easy to grab your phone when you're, sitting, waiting on an appointment or before you go to bed, just on there just scrolling.
With as many recipes as you have done over the years, do you have a way that you even keep up with that? Like when you go to develop new recipes, do you truly remember everything you've done, or do you have like a data thing that you go to?
I used to be able to remember refresh it in my head. Yeah. Now I can't.
There's so many.
I mean, with the recipe stuff now, it's like my mind thinks like a recipe.
Yeah.
When I start seeing something, I start thinking, okay, I need this much quantity of this. I need this. It's going to take this bite. It's just the way I guess I've done it so much. My brain's constantly thinking in recipe format when I start thinking up a dish, and so. That's one thing that's really never been too big a challenge is coming up with an idea of something to cook.
And you're always looking, too.
Yeah.
You're always looking at menus and recipe books and just out in general.
Paying attention to other people.
You're like me. I take pictures of menus because I see some combinations that I like, and I'm just going to go home and play with these 6 items here in this combination and see if I can't get it right.
I don't care how many times I've been in a restaurant or wherever or seen somebody else's video or something. I was like, ooh, man, that would be good, but do this and this and this. Or try something different. But I think that comes from me loving to eat. And wanting to try delicious stuff.
I agree.
And so a lot of it, that part just comes natural. It's like, oh, I think that'll be good.
Well, me and you were talking when I first kind of got started. We were off somewhere. I think maybe we had been into a cooler too many times. But I asked you, I said, how do you continuously come up with new recipes? And I said, there's really not 12 to 15 things that you really cook that you can put a twist on. You're like, man, it don't matter. You just got to keep recycling them and putting a change on every item, and you're going to never run out of ideas. And when I looked at it, I was like, he's right. It don't matter how many times you cook ribs or pork butts, you can always do it differently. Mm-hmm. There's different technique you can use, and all of them may not be the same way getting there, but they all got the same end result. And that's
something good. Yeah, something good to eat.
And we get so many questions now. I was thinking about that low and slow pork butt we done, but people's like, why'd you do this? Why'd you trim the fat cap that time? It's just changing it up. I did.
Trying something
different. A little more bark.
Yeah.
I don't want to rake the skin off this time.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I redo some of my stuff. I mean, we've got so much old stuff that I just want to see what a new spin would be like on it, or what would it be like if I created that recipe today. And because I mean, I'm the first person to tell you I'm not an expert. Like I'm not a chef. Not a trained chef. I mean, there's a lot of people that can cook way better barbecue. I'm sure you cook way better barbecue than me, but I just enjoy experimenting, trying stuff, and then sharing it with people. I think and if you like doing that, I mean, you can probably make it doing what we're doing.
Do you have a favorite older dish or video that you felt like didn't get the recognition it deserved, and you want to go back and redo it because it was that good, but maybe everybody else thought it didn't translate over?
There's been a bunch of those. I mean, I can't think of one in particular, but I remember there's like Shell will tell me all the time. I was like, man, I really wish this video was better because that was so good. One of the ones that was probably like those Thai steak skewers. Like we did these little, I marinated some skirt steak and then like this Asian style Thai marinade, and you put it on a stick, and it probably wasn't the best video because it just didn't translate, but those things are absolutely delicious. I mean, they are just, every time we've cooked them for somebody, they're like, man, what is this? It's great. The meat's just tender.
We've used it a
flavor.
lot.
We've used it a lot, and that was one that I don't think the video did well at all. But
sandwiches and burgers.
Yeah, the jerk mon burger. I did this jerk, it was a take on a jerk hamburger.
I remember that. We'd come back from Jamaica.
Yeah, that was exactly right. Yeah. That was one of those. And, man, that burger was, it was like you could win a burger contest with that. And I don't know if the recipe I don't remember what it did, but I just remember that was one that was, that was a phenomenal burger.
You're not going to beat ribs and briskets.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna beat. Yeah,
there's.
I mean, there's always. I could always do a better brisket video. I feel like, or something. I mean, we've had some really good ones, but
do you feel like with a brisket, you almost dread it sometimes? You get ready to cook it, you want to eat it like me, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but it's such a lengthy cook and rest time to get to that great result.
To get it right, yep.
You almost have to do the overnight pellet grill or CTO or something. Because
hard to film that too.
It is so hard.
It is because you got to start it the one the day before and then pick up, and those are the long ones are probably the most challenging. And we've tried to go ahead and get a brisket most of the way cook, and then show one prepped, and then have the full one.
You got all the waste and all.
Yeah, it costs so much money to do that. It's not worth doing. So that's why you don't see me doing a lot of the big long cooks anymore. We just ain't had the time to do them.
That's kind of me too. Everybody wants more briskets and
everybody
wants brisket.
Everybody wants to see brisket.
If you're not doing it on the drum, it's kind of hard not to do it. So in an 8-hour day,
unless you cut that dude way down, like you cook it on that outlaw on that top shelf and then back it down, you get a brisket done in 5 hours. But I just don't think it's as good as that overnight or that low and slow one where you really let it rest and all that. But
well, I know moving on, and so we was talking about YouTube videos and things like that. We done a rib video together a long time ago. You invited me on
on the pellet Traeger, wasn't it?
That one was a huge video. Like the views on it.
I think it's your second most highest video.
Is it really?
I think
one of them.
It was up. It was probably number one for a while.
No, I think your
tomahawk.
Tomahawk.
You have a tomahawk that's more than
that. Showstoppers. Is it worth the money? Probably not. But it looks
paying for a lot of bones.
It looks cool.
And it did I remember that cook just going. It was like chaotic during that cook.
Yeah, I had the smoker on fire. It was just crazy. Yeah.
People never see them behind the scenes things, right?
They don't see all that.
They don't see the pit actually running out. Or something,
I feel like that can take us to a whole different topic, especially on the video y'all did together, because I remember some of the comments. But how do
I stopped reading comments.
Do you even read the comments anymore? And
man,
what do you think of
them? Me too bad. I'm supposed to have died 15 years ago. Massive heart attacks and
both
diabetes.
Of y'all.
I'm gonna have my feet cut off. Feet cut off. They tell me all kinds of stuff on there.
I've learned to look at it as positive.
It was wild, those comments. I mean, completely wild.
On that video. But I know, like other stuff too. I mean,
every single video, you get somebody negative.
Yeah. I think you want it. Really
we've learned to look at it from
I embrace it.
I
embrace it. And sometimes I tell my team, let's poke at them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Get them riled up.
The most we ever pissed people off was going and cooking a Philly cheesesteak. I mean, that will make people mad.
But in Philadelphia, they do it different places. I mean, they can't,
every week. Look here. What's great about that video we done? They are on there arguing amongst themselves, telling each other that they live on different parts of Philly. They're both idiots.
But that's just pushing your video more and more and more.
Yeah, you want that.
Yeah.
It could be worse. Nobody could care.
Yeah, that's what's worse. Nobody caring or getting all the hateful, negative stuff.
I can't wait to do a deep dish pizza.
Oh, gosh.
Chicago, here we come. Yeah. That's it. I'm looking for something in New York to screw up.
I love the comments. I appreciate the comments, and we do try to answer the questions and be serious about those. But all the negative stuff, I mean, for me, it's no place for politics, religion, hate speech, bullying, any of that stuff. We don't play any of that stuff. Yeah. But if you want to leave a negative
that's
comment,
about the only thing I'll delete is if you're just,
being outright mean for no reason.
Yeah. I mean,
but y'all probably see this. Like, we get a lot of people that police it for us. Like, we'll have people that take up.
True.
Our fans take up just like you.
They care about they care about what you're doing. They want you to keep doing it, so they're going to speak up. Say, hey, man, you're wrong or whatever. Take that elsewhere.
My favorite comment was if somebody was like, "This is way too much sugar and butter and all this stuff," I'd be like, "I don't think we're for you. I don't think we're for you.
Go get some lettuce."
That's it. Not a vegan.
Like Susie from Hey Girl Hey, she always just says, haha, okay.
Yeah.
She said she always responds, haha, okay.
Yeah.
And she's such a nice lady. How can you come back
with
anything to her? Like
she said anything ugly. She just always says, haha, okay.
That's great.
That's the good attitude to have.
Yeah, it really is.
So you know, having the How to BBQ Right podcast, and now y'all have kind of built, you've kind of got your outdoor escape, right?
Yeah,
At your
yeah,
beer
yeah.
club. Y'all have kind of got into the Buck Junkies podcast and started a podcast. So tell us a little bit about that and how it's going and how you kind of formed the Buck Junkies and got all that going.
So really, it was just me and some of the guys that work for him, Mark, Jamie, Mikey. You know, we all hunt down in Senatobia, where, you know, we kind of got our smokehouse and all that now. Built a little deer camp down there, and it was the same kind of thing. Shell gets tired of me talking about hunting all the time during the winter, and so I was like, you know, I've always wanted to do like a, you know, something in the hunting industry or something like that.
You've been wanting to do that for a while.
Yeah, it's always been a passion of mine. I mean, being a kid, from watching the fishing shows and hunting shows, and, you know,
I think all of us had that
all of us
passion.
had that. If you're in the South, that was kind of what we did. And it just kind of went along with barbecue. And I know a lot of those guys that hunt and fish love to cook. And it just goes with it. And so I was like, well, let's sit down. You know, we got some time. We're doing this podcast. Let's just start a hunting podcast. But let's don't do it from, you know, seeing us kill stuff. It's not about going out and killing something. This is just about us having a good time at camp. And that's so we, you know, we deal with like land stewardship, doing food plots, improving the habitat for the animals. Yeah, we always try to harvest some. And I love to eat deer meat. I love to eat, you know, wild game. And so we just started doing that, and it's been a lot of recipes. Yeah, it's a lot of recipes. Hunt camp life. Just fun stuff. Some of it's comedy. Some of it's, you know, just hanging out. And that's all it is. And it's taking off too. We're doing, you know, the podcast is getting listened to, and the videos are doing well, and social's growing. So
I feel like y'all are finding your voice with it.
Yeah,
you know, finding the angle, I guess.
So you have 2 podcasts now.
Yeah.
Any plans for more than 2?
If I can get Shell to start this travel thing with me, the Caribbean travel podcast.
Oh, that'd be great.
Caribbean.
Trying to figure out a way to write off some trips down to the islands, man. If I've got to go down there and experience them to talk about them, that's a business expense, right?
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It is.
Would you ever start your own podcast?
Not about barbecue.
Not about barbecue.
What was the one you and Mark's wife had? Y'all were going to...
Oh, biscuits and bales and biscuits.
Bales and biscuits, yeah. Bales and biscuits. Who was
Malcolm said, "Are you bales and you biscuits?" He regrets saying that. I believe me.
I think Emily was biscuits. You were definitely Bale.
He pointed at me when you said biscuits.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. No, but have you really considered ever doing one? Because I think podcasts are huge, man. People,
I love just talking.
Yeah.
Do you have podcasts that you watch? Like like, I have to watch that.
I've never watched them, but I listen to them.
Well,
yeah.
Every night we listen to like Crime Junkies or True Crime Garage, or I'd listen to a ton of hunting podcasts and
travel podcasts.
Oh, you listen to a lot of the comedy ones too.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan and what's the other Tom Segura? That's Tom and his wife, but Bert and Tom have
they are hilarious.
Two Bears, One Cave.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard not to watch some of that.
Podcast is, it's not the next thing. It's been a thing for a while, but it's just gaining so much traction.
Theo Vaughn's podcast is coming really along. I mean, I know we say that from he's so wild and crazy, but
he was top 10 for a while.
He still is. He was again this year. So. I mean, he come out of left field.
Yeah.
And there was some podcasts on there I still don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of strange, but
there's so many of them. Like, that's the cool thing about podcasts. Whatever niche you're into, I guarantee you there's probably a podcast on it. If there's not, you probably need to start it. Because there's somebody that's into it.
Yeah.
Well, that brings me to another niche. You know, we have something else in common. We're both mayonnaise fanatics. You know, I mean, I'm serious.
For life.
Mayonnaise. Everybody laughs at me. I mean, I stopped for breakfast, a breakfast croissant. Can I get a bag of mayo?
Yeah.
I need a bag of mayo. And I don't like cheap. Well, I don't like cheap craft or anything like that.
Yeah, it's gotta be the good
I'm
stuff.
bougie. I like
What's your
Blue Plate.
favorite?
I like
Blue
Blue Plate.
Plate?
I'm a
Yeah.
Blue Plate man.
That's what we grew up on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll take Hellman's if I got to have it.
Yeah. Hellman's is a good
And
second.
I'll do Duke's if I have to. But Duke's has changed. It seems like it got a little more thinner as well.
I'll tell you, another good one is Sam's. Extra thick in a tub.
You ever seen that one? You got to buy it by the gallon, but it's like extra creamy or whatever, or extra thick mayo.
I've done my research.
Yeah.
It might be made by somebody else.
Oh, if you're doing a recipe, that's the one. That one's better than a recipe probably than any of them.
What?
The extra thick?
The extra
Have
thick.
you tried the truff mayo, the organic mayo? I will say
brand
hot
truck.
sauce.
Yeah,
Like
the
the hot
brand
sauce,
truck.
yeah.
it is really good.
I'll try that.
It is. as
It's
far as-
different.
yeah, it's very different, but it's good.
That's
Bit
where the
organic.
Q pie or what was it? QP? QP.
QP.
It was like the Japanese,
Japanese
mayo. It's
mayo.
different.
Yeah.
It's good,
How
but it's
to-
It's a little bit
different.
sweeter of a
Yeah,
taste, kind of
yeah.
in between Miracle Whip mayo, right?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Miracle Whip.
I'm not really a Miracle Whip person either, unless it's in a couple different dishes. And so,
I feel like I use Miracle Whip twice ever. So like my grandmother's pimento cheese recipe, it's like half mayo, half Miracle Whip, like equal parts.
I could see that working.
And then the only other time I ever use it, and it's very strange, like if I eat a bologna sandwich, I want Miracle
Really?
Whip. I don't know why. It's
Yeah,
just
oh,
something
mayonnaise.
about, I don't want it on any other type of sandwich ever. I use regular mayonnaise on all other sandwiches, but for some reason, bologna, I want Miracle Whip. It's like a childhood thing for me. I don't know why, but
I don't like mustard on sandwiches,
I don't
but
eat
on a
mustard
ham
either.
sandwich, like an old school ham sandwich, I
Yeah.
want a little mustard on it. I guess it's because it's
yeah,
childhood.
like
you
a
know?
childhood thing.
I don't want my mustard and mayo touching each other. So I put one on the bottom and one on the top. I know that's strange, but I
do
don't.
that.
I
I don't want it on the
Aren't
same
you the one
side.
that doesn't want mustard to touch cheese too? Is that
Yeah, I
you?
don't like mustard to touch cheese.
Mustard
either.
touches meat, mayonnaise touches cheese.
100%.
We're talking about
This ain't
sandwich
staged.
aficionado.
This is not staged
No, that's
here.
how you make it, though.
He's
that's
always
right.
been that way.
I know how to eat, and that's
I know how to
one
eat.
rule. Yeah, don't deny me right now. Okay,
Yeah,
don't
that's
deny
right.
me.
Worked hard on this
That's
barbecue.
exactly right. Well, talking about all that, I do want to ask one more question about Blue Plate. I noticed that they are they doing some kind of sponsorship for Hogs for a Cause, or they have like some kind of deal going on?
Last year they
internal or
did. I don't
something?
know if they did this year. They're the official mayonnaise of the New Orleans Saints, so they're doing more with them down in New Orleans now. Last year, that's one of the reasons why I got to go judge Hogs for the Cause last year, was because Blue Plate asked me to come down and they had actually a Blue Plate sponsored category, and so they got some footage or whatever of me judging that, and I judged. Did I judge? Is that the only category I judged, or
Yeah.
because I had to go do that other thing, but that was why I went down there to hang out with them.
Did y'all go to Hogs for the Cause?
We never have
We've
been.
never been,
And,
and it's always on Colin's birthday, so I don't know if we'll ever.
That's a bucket
get
list
to go.
contest, man. It's cool. It's really cool.
Collins might have a birthday in New Orleans for
Yeah,
us.
there you go. When she gets old enough to go. Yeah. It's a fun contest.
Can't turn down New Orleans, man. No matter when it is, what time of year.
So much.
It's
good
hard not to
food.
say, I'm just go eat. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna drive down there and
it's
eat.
like a whole
we'll drive
different
back.
level of restaurants there versus
Oh,
here, Memphis. I mean,
Well, that takes me to the. I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. That thank you for the restaurant recommendation that you.
well, we didn't get to go to all of them that they
No,
recommended.
but we went to
but-
Revolution,
Yeah,
It's really
and
good.
I tell everybody.
I've actually
that
recommended it
a
to
great
other
meal,
people
yeah.
since then who have had great experiences as well.
The service is top
Yes.
notch. Yeah.
top notch.
But I mean, New Orleans is kind of known for their service,
Yeah.
but
They had probably, I would say they're in the top 2 turnip greens that I've ever eaten in my life at that restaurant.
but we didn't get turnip greens when we were there. I'm gonna have to
gosh,
do
they
that.
were
turtle,
amazing.
shallot turtle soup.
No, we didn't try turtle
Oh
soup either.
my gosh.
Oh, with the
I like,
quail
the
egg.
one thing that stood out to me was I got some of their raw oysters, and then we got the bone marrow.
got
And
the
I was
oysters.
taking the bone
Bone marrow
marrow
and
and putting it on the oyster, and the server, he said, I've seen a lot of people eat both of these, but I've never seen anybody do that. Putting the bone marrow on the raw oyster.
He's
and eating it.
impressed.
Yeah, it was so good.
The turtle soup there was.
Was it good? See?
It was amazing.
Had clove and nutmeg in it?
I hadn't
Yeah.
either, but after that restaurant, I did try a few others, in New Orleans. They were not even comparable
Really?
to theirs. Theirs was superb compared to the others. I mean, it was amazing.
What other restaurants is like top for you in New Orleans?
We didn't get to go to some of them because they needed, they were so booked that you needed, multiple days in advance reservations.
Did you tell us about the Bourbon House?
Yeah.
Bourbon House.
She
is
said
good.
We went for lunch
he's
there.
obsessed with the
Yeah.
chicken
It's a lunch
sandwich
spot.
The
there.
chicken sandwich, the crystal hot sauce, and the
Yes.
honey, and the fried chicken sandwich, and the coleslaw. I done already come home, and that
He
video.
did his own version.
When does that video come out?
This week when the podcast comes out.
This week.
Really,
All
it's
right.
coming out.
So,
what is it?
the
Fried
hot honey
chicken or
chicken
black?
sandwich, fried chicken.
Fried.
Okay.
I pounded me out some chicken breast, you're right, cut them down and soaked them in buttermilk, hot sauce, and all the seasonings, and made a batter up and fried it. And I'm here to tell you, made some crystal hot sauce and honey mixed together, done it, and I made a good creamy coleslaw.
Yeah.
Brioche bun. But
Game
now,
changer.
I would drive to New Orleans right now if you said, hey, let's go eat that chicken
So
sandwich.
they
He
have,
always
they have
talks
a
about- I'm like, damn, let's
barbecue
go.
shrimp po' boy there. that is different.
What is
than
it?
A barbecue shrimp po' boy. But what they do is they take the end of the po' boy roll and they pull it off and like hollow it out, and they load it. They load it with barbecue shrimp, so it's not cut and dressed or anything like that. It's just a loaf of bread stuffed with barbecue shrimp. It is
$20.
so good. $20.
$20 phone ringing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Make it $40.
And they what now?
And that's all. That's all it is. It's not dressed. It's just barbecue shrimp
bread.
inside that. What's that bread called? Like Liedenheimer
Yeah.
or whatever. It's a Liedenheimer hot
they're-
Liedenheimer roll. It's so good.
They do a debris. A debris
debris
po'
po'
boy
boy,
that's really
yeah.
good. They're a perfect lunch spot.
Yeah,
It is.
we
It's
went for
fantastic.
lunch.
The dinner's good there. Don't get me wrong, but I think majority of the time we
I
go to
really
lunch.
wanted to go to, it was like a fish type place.
Pesh.
I don't remember.
It's probably right there off Bourbon.
I don't know. There's so many of them.
We went there.
GW Finn's.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't get a
another one.
reservation there. Their menu looked
We didn't get to
amazing.
go in
though.
there.
It is
It looked
good.
very
one's
good.
that one's up there, top.
Yeah.
We need to go
5.
back.
We may need to go.
Y'all
to New
were supposed to
Orleans
be on
instead
that
of Las
trip,
Vegas.
actually.
Yeah.
Was that
But
when
you
y'all
didn't-
went to the game?
Yep.
Yeah, we were.
That was it.
Mississippi State.
I know.
The football game.
I'd had that planned for months.
I mean,
I know.
it
Y'all
happened.
had like the sweet. Ink.
We
Oh
did.
man, that's a trip.
Food was good, and man, we chilled.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time.
We need to
was
plan
good.
that back out though, 'cause I'm down to go.
Well, I would say we've bought a lot of labels.
You know,
lately.
Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
we probably
You know,
did.
Super Bowl is going to be in New Orleans
yeah.
next year.
I've never been to
I
that.
keep getting
The Vikings
emails
are
about
playing, I'm
that.
there.
There.
The Vikings are playing. I'm there. I don't care what it
They ain't
takes.
playing there.
You don't think it's going to
They're not
happen?
going to play there.
They don't even have
Come on, we got this
quarterback.
quarterback. We're going to draft one. We're going to have the first rookie quarterback go to the Super Bowl.
Hey, he is manifesting. Is what he's
Yeah,
doing. He is
manifesting.
manifesting.
You're right,
Well-
baby. You're right.
The logo had purple in it last year, and it's signifying the
Yeah,
Vikings
yeah.
are going to be in it this year.
I heard
Well, moving on. We only got another couple topics here. Y'all do a lot of giving back for charities, right? Y'all are involved with our local Palmer Home for Children here in DeSoto County. And so kind of tell me why y'all chose that charity.
I
It's
got
in our
involved.
backyard,
Well, I got
yeah.
involved with it because of JT from the late JT. He was a good guy. He was from Super Talk, Mississippi. Had his midday show, and he got into. I guess he was just into barbecue, and he found me online and called me up and was telling me about this Palmer Home deal that he raises money for, and he just wanted to know if I'd come on the show and talk about barbecue during that. And I was like, yeah. Well, he didn't know I was from Mississippi or from Hernando or whatever. And so I just kind of built a relationship with him, and I think he asked us if we wanted to donate one year to just some rubs or something for their radiothon. They do a big radiothon every year. And that's how I got to know about the Palmer Home. And they were in Columbus at the time. I don't think they had a Hernando campus, but they ended up moving, or they may have. I'm not really sure about the beginnings of it. But now they're headquartered here in Hernando, and that's kind of our backyard. So it just made sense for us to do some stuff with them. And
Yeah.
it's for a great cause, man, helping out kids and making sure that, they have a future and all that. So
They have a big mud bug bash coming up next weekend.
Yes.
April 20th in
Yep.
Hernando.
Hernando,
they've-
still get tickets to it.
Yep.
All you can eat. Is it all you can eat crawfish festival?
I think so, yeah. It's mostly a party. It's a good time.
It's
it's
a
a
good
good
time.
time. Shouldn't say
I'm going to ask you something later on about that. But I'm going to have to go down there and get some crawfish this year on the 20th, though, for sure.
We got some tickets if y'all need some.
yeah.
Well, we had to get some. Well, talking about travel and barbecue, what places has really barbecue took you to that you thought you would never go
Man,
to?
that's a good one.
Bahamas.
The Bahamas. Yeah, we went to the Bahamas Cook Steak Contest.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
we didn't go to
yeah.
that. I
Oh,
forgot
dude,
about
was
that.
Such a fun
Grill
trip.
grates.
And
Yes.
he kept saying he was going to do it again, and I imagine the logistics of it.
He's
was
kind of
kinda-
like retired
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
so
We need to start our conference back up in Jamaica.
I know we do. I miss that
I was
so
about
much.
grown. Or we get a few more years on her, y'all can get away in the winter.
Well, it's gotten a lot better. We could probably swing at.
Yeah.
It's good. But yeah, we need to have another meeting in the islands for
the
sure.
pool.
We
In the
haven't
pool.
missed a year since then.
Yeah.
Y'all took time out to have a baby.
Well, that memory
keep
popped
going.
up. You remember that one morning? Was that the Tuesday morning or whatever when we got there? And the from the first day we was there, and we opened the curtains, and the guy had like
Coolers.
2 coolers and like 2 gallons of punch sitting out there, and 2
It
gallons
just
of this.
progressively got more each day.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is gonna be a good day. It's 7 a.m. This is gonna be a good day. Oh, well, couple more things. What's the best local barbecue y'all think in Memphis?
Oh, man, for what? for
Yeah.
like it's got to.
Well,
You
I
can't,
tell you
you
what,
can't do it.
go down the hit list then of what.
All right.
I will say this: Central Barbecue opened up in Snowden. I went and had their wings a couple weeks ago, or it's been
Yeah.
probably a couple months ago.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Really?
Yeah,
Great.
their wings were great. Central
Smoky.
Barbecue.
And that
Central
location's
Barbecue-
actually owned by Wilson Kimmons.
Is it really?
Really?
So,
It was
so
smoky.
nachos and wings. We'll start with the appetizers. I go to Central. Now, the best barbecue restaurant appetizer is probably Melissa's cheese fritters or whatever they are.
I agree.
Those things are hard to beat. Sandwich, probably gonna have to give it to Payne's.
I was giving.
I would roll with
Payne's.
Payne's 110% for best
Sketchy getting
sandwich.
there.
Just sketchy, but yeah, Payne's. Let's see. Bologna, I might give that one to the barbecue shop or either Tom's.
I was going to say Tom.
I like
I like
Tom's.
Tom's.
They have rib tips.
I mean, I do like Cozy Corners ribs.
I like Cozy Corner
Yeah.
ribs
It's
too.
just,
Malcolm.
it's
Cozy
just
Corners
old
are
Malcolm,
school,
mild
man.
sauce or hot
haven't
sauce?
been there.
I'm mild, but I
mild,
really don't
too.
want much sauce on them though. I just like the flavor of that pit. It reminds me of like Dreamland style. I mean, it's the old school rib, you know.
I like the ribs better
but-
than their hens. You know, they're known for
Yeah,
their
I'm
yeah,
with you.
game.
yeah, I
like
do
the
too,
rib
I do
better
too.
than hens.
I'm trying to think of, so that rib's good.
What about Rendezvous?
No.
No.
Hey, I tell you what's good at
Shrimp.
Rendezvous: sausage and cheese, the beer, the ham sandwich.
Yep, I agree.
nailed it.
That was
He
it.
nailed it.
That was
I
it.
agree.
That's
Hey,
it.
but I've never had the barbecue shrimp. They
We
say you
have,
got to call
yeah,
they're
24
good.
hours
They're
in
good.
advance.
They're all right. I mean,
Fine.
They were overcooked when we had
yeah.
them.
I mean, it's a big
You know,
old
it's kinda
giant.
hard to
so what they
peel
do,
and-
I don't know. I guess they take them out of the freezer and let them thaw overnight. It's the only reason why it takes them overnight because they just take their barbecue sauce and a bunch of lemons and a bunch of butter and put it in this big crawfish looking pot, and it's all shrimp, and they just simmer it, and that's it. And they bring it out to you in that pot, and then like ladle it out on your plates. And it's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like crazy. It's nothing crazy.
Y'all could do better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The barbecue shrimp on the smoker with the butter and Worcestershire and all that stuff, they're blown away.
I got to agree, though, Payne's for the chopped pork.
And the spaghetti barbecue shops on
Barbecue shop, yeah.
spaghetti.
yeah.
It's good and greasy.
But I will say this, like
it's
all
supposed to be.
around, it's going to be tough to beat Memphis barbecue too. I mean, just from the
From
total
all
meal.
around.
I mean, you can get
Well, me and you had the ribs there. You remember
Yeah,
when they done we done half dry and half wet
Yeah.
slab that day when we
They
went
were
down
good.
there to meet with them, and
dude, they got a meatloaf that'll hurt you.
the meatloaf
Yeah,
is spot on
the
the money,
meatloaf's
and
good.
the orange glazed salmon. If you want
good,
something
too.
different,
I've never had that.
don't
It's
sleep
good.
on that.
But what's that peacemaker sandwich they have? It's brisket and pulled pork. It's good.
Donut burger.
Donut burger. I mean, Melissa's got. Her John Doe got some good
Her
stuff there.
catfish is actually really
Really?
good. Fried catfish.
Now I'll go to Corky's and get the catfish.
Well-
don't sleep on Corky's catfish.
Corky's catfish, and
They
believe it or
have
not,
good spaghetti.
Corky's spaghetti.
I
Yeah,
haven't had
I
that.
have
It's
Yeah.
not necessarily barbecue
It's more
spaghetti,
like
but it's just
spaghetti.
spaghetti.
Italian spaghetti.
It's
Yeah,
good
yeah.
though.
Do they put pulled pork on it?
No,
or
it's
just
just
spaghetti?
meat sauce.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Really good
spaghetti.
meat sauce.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We go
Better
to the
than-
drive-thru and get spaghetti and bread and like a side order of coleslaw sometimes.
But I like
Yeah.
commissary too, man. I mean, now I'm a barbecue
Deviled
fan.
They
eggs.
have good
Deviled eggs.
bologna. I
Yeah,
like their
bologna's
bologna.
good.
It's
their
not
dry
bad.
ribs are good. Their deviled eggs are good. Their
Yeah.
dessert, their pies are really
Yep.
good.
They are good.
We went
We're
there
just, I mean,
not
it's
too long
Memphis.
ago.
There's so much good stuff. Because I ain't gonna shake my head at Tops, man. You get just old Tops pulled pork sandwich.
Old chopped sandwich is hard to beat.
Yeah.
The Tops are what it is for the
Double
money.
cheeseburger.
But a
Crinkle
double
cuts.
cheeseburger from Tops is a little
Yeah.
bit different. And you know they've added some stuff to their menu.
They got
now.
brisket and they got ribs, but I promise you, I've never tried them.
They're reheated in a microwave.
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
would
they
you
were. I don't know
Yeah.
about now, but
Just
they were.
stick
at
with the
one time.
barbecue sandwich.
What about outside of Memphis barbecue?
First one just popped in my head was Little Miss Barbecue.
Y'all were there.
I
Hey,
say it
y'all
all
were
the
with us
time.
when we did it.
We both ordered a
Yeah.
platter. We
So,
probably should have shared a
Yeah.
platter.
I always
That
say,
was
and I know
good.
it's not barbecue, but like I don't even like pecan pie, but I loved their pecan
Yeah,
pie.
It was smoked, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was
And the
very
little bitty-
And the
good.
little
Like
bit
the
individual
small.
ones, yeah.
So good.
That one, Martin's. I like Martin's bar. It reminds me of
The
old
redneck
school
taco.
barbecue. Yeah, that's a good one in Nashville.
We've got it on our list to go to Charleston sometime soon.
Yeah,
I do too.
Get
Yeah.
up
We
there.
want to go to
Yeah, we've talked
Lewis's
about
and
that as
Rodney
well.
Scott's.
I want to go to Rodney
I mean,
Scott's
those
and all
Texas
that.
joints, like you go to Lockhart, man, and all those places, they're different, but they're all good. You know, it's like, I mean,
Have you guys ever been to Valentina's in Austin?
No, see, I've never really done. We've been through Austin, but
When
I've
you
never
wanna
really
go?
been to food. I
Oh,
need to
it's
go.
I'll go eat a
good.
taco
I've
with
never
you.
been to
Yeah.
Franklin's, but I've been to a lot of the guys that worked under him
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Yeah.
had that
Valentina's
style.
was amazing, and Hayes County, which I'm not sure.
I haven't been
Hayes
to
closed.
Clark
That's
Creek.
what she
I haven't
said.
been to Clark Creek.
Oh,
yet.
they're good.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
one
It's
I
good
gotta
too.
go to.
Travis, you got to get to
Or
practice.
Darren's place.
definitely
I've been to
good.
his in
I've
Iowa.
not been to Darren's. No, need to.
No, we haven't been there.
His apple
Sounds like-
dumplings look really good on
Yeah.
Food Network.
Doing national barbecue crawl.
Travis's
That'd
was
be
good though.
National.
You know, it'd really be
I've
hard.
heard it's really good.
I know that like Southern Living and a lot of other magazines have done like a top restaurant, but it would be kind of
Questionable.
cool to put together a top 50 of your own in a year's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to see how it, you know, that would be some hardcore.
Or get, a poll of all the big barbecue guys we know to rank what they think's the best.
the
Yeah.
best.
Be interesting for sure. Well, look, we could go on and carry on a conversation for probably a week.
We need to bring out the bottle or a beer or something.
Yeah, I know for sure. Well, look, I'm gonna call that a wrap. I want to thank both of y'all for coming on today and driving
Thanks for
up
having
and
us.
seeing us. And as always, it's always a good time shooting the queue, especially with you guys. Thanks again for coming on shooting the queue.
We appreciate it.
Is there anybody they need to be following y'all, any of your channels or anything? If you don't know where
like to
Malcom Reed
connect
at,
with
I'm
Malcom,
sorry.
it's how to BBQ Right on.
Yeah.com
Just
On
Google
everything.
it.
on everything.
No, y'all got an awesome place here, man. I love what you've done with the decor and everything. This is cool, Heath. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Y'all have done an outstanding job.
Appreciate it.
I love all the trophies everywhere.
Yeah,
You've got
just,
some I've never even seen, really.
you need to go out to the shop then.
Yeah. I've never
pretty
seen the
wild.
records. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd
Yeah.
you get the guitar? Is that
That
Nashville?
come from
too?
Nashville as the
Yeah.
grand champion. Yeah. Pretty wild. They could have put a better die cut sticker on that though,
Yeah.
couldn't they? For the money.
Yeah.
Well, look, we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin The Que podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the queue.